Shalom, holy initiates and holy adepts. I am the Chief Magician of Mystery Babylon. Welcome to my holy channel. So this video here is it's going to be a very super advanced, very esoteric video and teaching. Now, initially, I had planned to only release this video and this teaching to my inner circle. But then I realized that I told myself, I said, you know, some of the knowledge and information contained in this teaching has already been released to the public, and so in a sense, I'm not really releasing anything that is really super esoteric, but that which is very concealed from the masses. Moreover, the knowledge presented in this teaching I felt was very pertinent for this last generation. I also realized, well, since I've already posted very advanced esoteric teachings on my videos, and my average view count on a video is, say, a few hundred views, well, that's good, because in reality, I really don't want a lot of people to be coming to my channel, as I want to keep my channel and many of my teachings as concealed as possible. I only want those that are worthy to come to this channel and to these videos. So again, initially, I wanted to restrict this teaching in this video to my inner circle, but at the last minute, I decided, well, you know what? I think it's best to release it openly on my channel, and for the glory of Mashiach Israel, who is going to return very, very soon. Sooner than I think most people realize. So with that established, we can get straight into the matter. And we're going to begin in Sifra Daniel, in chapter 12. So those that can read Hebrew may want to turn to their Hebrew Bibles, although I have the verses in the original Hebrew on the screen, so perhaps no need to do that. But for those that don't know Hebrew, you might want to turn to your English Bible and turn to chapter 12 in Sifra Daniel. Now, we read in verse 11, the verse translates in the English as, "And from the time of the removal of the continual burnt offering until the placing of the abomination of desolation, 1,290 days." Okay? And then we read in verse 12, it says, "Happy is the one who reaches to 1,335 days." Now, we need to understand, again, this is an advanced video, we need to understand that the Holy Word has many layers of encryption, and Sifra Daniel is one of the most encrypted texts, because this book contains many prophecies relating to the future from the generation of Daniel. And so because of that, it's just the method of operation of Hashem to naturally encrypt and encode his holy word and text. So there's many levels and layers of encryption to the text. Now, most people, maybe you could say all of the people, when they read Sifra Daniel, we have to understand that, one, they're reading an English translation of the text, because they more than likely don't know Aramaic. And so they're reading a literal English translation, which is removed from the original wordage. Moreover, they're not initiated into the holy mysteries. Now, the advanced Christians, and maybe Jews, that are reading Sifra Daniel, some of them at least have common sense enough to realize that indeed the book is encrypted. There is a level of encryption. There are certain verses that they will admit they don't fully understand. Well, why don't they fully understand them? Because they're not initiated. They're not fully initiated. They're not grandmasters like me. They don't belong to the holy order, to the holy secret order. So how the hell are they going to know? Now, the problem is that the English translation is a literal translation of the underlying Aramaic text. The literal text is level 1. Level 1 is just a garment to the text. It's not the soul or the spirit of the text. It's not the esoteric levels and layers of the text. For that, you must be initiated. So reading and studying Sifra Daniel on the literal level is going to get you nowhere if you're trying to study future prophecy and you want those future prophecies to be revealed to you. You need to understand this, okay? And I'm going to make a very strong point here. So let us go back to verse 11. In verse 11, we're given some numbers. The number is 1290. Now, in the original Aramaic, and I'll scroll here with my mouse, right? So this is the first number here that I'm encircling. In Hebrew, this is alaf, which signifies 1,000. This Hebrew word here is ma'atayim, which is 200. And this Hebrew word here is tish'im, which is 90. So we have to notice that we're given 3 numbers, 1,290. And then we're given here the Hebrew word yamim, which means days. So understanding that, right, we're going to break down the text now. I'm going to show you how a grandmaster thinks and operates and decodes the text, and then I'm going to make a strong point. So again, we have to go back to the foundation and understanding that there are many levels to the text. We're not concerned with the literal level right now because this is an advanced esoteric teaching. So we're going to decode the text and penetrate it to its most esoteric levels. We're going to unravel the text. So we have the Hebrew word yamim, which means days. But if you're initiated and you know the holy word very well, you know that a day is as 1,000 years in the sight of Hashem. So we have an equation between day and year. So now we can understand that these days are actually a reference to years. And we are given in verse 11, 1290 years, or 1,290 years. Now, there's many levels to this. There's many levels to this number, 1290. We need to ask, what does this number represent? Okay, now we're going to break it down into its levels. Okay, so we have 1290, and then in the subsequent verse, we have 1335. So these are very key numbers that are referring to future prophecies and events. And there's many levels to these numbers. So understanding this, let's get to understanding these levels. Now, as I've already stated, we can break this down. We understand that there are 7 levels, but we can collapse this to 3 levels. We can say that there is going to be what we call the literal level to the text, the Gentile level, which would deal with the Gregorian Gentile calendar, and the esoteric level, which is going to deal with the Hebrew calendar, right? We have to understand a very esoteric construct, which is that the Holy Word takes into account everything. It takes into account everything. So with that understanding, we can then understand the three levels to the text. That one is the literal level. We're not concerned with that. I'm not going to teach on the literal level. I expect all of you listening to already be well acquainted with the literal level. We have the esoteric level that refers to the Goyim. So one of the esoteric levels deals with the Goyim, which has everything to do with the Gregorian Gentile calendar. The Holy Word anticipates everything and contains everything and knows everything. And the esoteric, another esoteric level deals with the Hebrew calendar. So the esoteric levels to this text are very encompassing. So we'll begin with the literal level dealing with the Gregorian calendar. With that understanding, we can then take 1290 as the year of the Gregorian calendar. So what took place in 1290 AD, that is 1290 years after the birth of Mashiach ben Yosef. Right, this is the Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar is Hebrew in the sense that it has everything to do with Mashiach ben Yosef. The Gregorian calendar begins counting from Mashiach ben Yosef, which is what Sifra Daniel is all about to begin with. Everything is interconnected here. We must understand this. Those that are stupid, those that are ignorant, will not understand this, will not see this. So 1290 then is giving us the date. On one level, 1290 is a date on the Gregorian or Gentile calendar, because we have to understand that all of the followers of Yeshua HaMashiach most of them are Goyim. It's the Goyim that fill much of the world. Much of the world uses the calendar of the Goyim, which its cardinal point of origin is the birth of Mashiach ben Yosef. Okay, everything is interconnected. So it's giving us the year 1290. Now, what's important about the year 1290? Well, the year 1290 was the year of the revelation and release of Sefer HaZohar, which contained the bulk of the esoteric wisdom. And most importantly, it contained very momentous prophecies of the last days and the return of the Mashiachim. So Sefer HaZohar gives us the dates that subsequent Mashiachim, the reincarnations of Mashiach, certain reincarnations of Mashiach, those dates are given in Sefer HaZohar, as well as prophecies of the last days and the return of Mashiach ben Dawid. These were all contained in Sefer HaZohar. Sefer HaZohar is one of the most powerful and holiest books to have ever been written and released. And Sefer Daniel gives us the exact date on the Gregorian calendar, on the Gentile calendar, that this was to take place. Now, those that were initiated already knew this. This was the blueprint. Those that belonged to the Holy Illuminati were given a divine decree to release this book on this momentous date, going back to fulfilling the prophecy contained in Sefer Daniel. This is very, very momentous to understand. Those that are fully initiated, those that understand the power of Sefer HaZohar, that have been fully initiated into Sefer HaZohar, will more than know and understand how momentous this prophetic event is. In a way, we can say that this was the beginning of the last days and the reunification of Beit Ephraim and Beit Yehuda. So I cannot fully emphasize the importance of this prophecy. So again, this level here, this is an esoteric level of the text. I would go as far as to say that 99.9% of Christians are entirely clueless and ignorant of this. Most lamentable indeed. Now let's go to an even more esoteric level of the verses, which deal with the secret of Mashiach ben Yosef. Now, the secret of Mashiach ben Yosef is none other than the Arizal. or Rab Yitzhak Liria. Now, he was born in 5294 and he died 5332. Now, these dates are the dates in reference to the Hebrew calendar. Okay, now notice how these key dates match the dates given in Sifra Daniel, because we're given 1290 and 1335. Now, if we go back to the original Aramaic text of Daniel, to the original Aramaic text of the verses that I cited, right? We have the word there, Yamim Alaf. Now, that can be translated as 1,000 days, but the Aramaic text is in many cases just disjointed. And on a very esoteric level, we can read it as on the millennial, not indicating what millennial it is. So we can very esoterically translate the verse as, and blessed are those that reach the 335th year of the fifth millennial, the fifth being interpolated into the text. Or really it's more properly esoterically translated as, blessed is the one that reaches the 335th day of the millennial, not stating what millennial it is. But those that are initiated would know that the exclusive reference is to the fifth millennial. So with that understanding, then we have the years of 5290 and 5335 on the Hebrew calendar. Now, why are those dates very special? Well, those that are initiated know that those are the dates of the life of the Arizal. Now, we know that he was born in 5294 because his disciples tell us that that's when he was born, and they also tell us the year that he died. So what the verses then in Sifra Daniel are then telling us, they're actually giving us very esoterically, they're very geniusly encrypting the dates of the arrival of a very secret incarnation of Mashiach ben Yosef. Now, let's speak a little bit about the Arizal. What you see before you on the screen is the very holy grave of the Arizal, which I have been to in Sfat Yisrael. Now, for those that have read, that are very highly and deeply initiated into the Uranic Kabbalah, you will know that everything that I'm about to tell you is very much true. And unfortunately, I was too lazy to quote everything that I'm about to say from the actual Uranic text, because it's quite extensive, and so you'll have to just take my word. But those that have read the text will more than know that what I'm saying is true. Now, if you've been initiated and you have mastered these Lyrianic texts, of which I have, you will learn that the chief disciples of the Arizal are all in accord that the Arizal is Mashiach ben Yosef. Now, the proofs are very simple. They will tell you that when the Arizal came on the scene, that he was rejected by many of the leading Rabbanon in Israel and outside of Israel. He was rejected. His disciples knew that he was Mashiach ben Yosef, and they knew he was a very powerful Zaddik, and yet he was rejected by the leading Rabbanon of his generation. This is something that's not very well known. And his disciples sent emissaries, and they themselves went to try to convince the other Rabbanan, and they were rejected. So in that generation, the Arizal was rejected by the leading Rabbanan. They had no idea that Mashiach ben Yosef was on the scene. Now, what makes the incarnation of Arizal very powerful is that he was what we call a secret incarnation. Now, this is a very advanced esoteric teaching, because I expect all of you to know about the many Gilgulim, or reincarnations of Mashiach. Mashiach ben Yosef has reincarnated many times in this aeon. Okay, you have to be extraordinarily and extremely ignorant if you think that the only manifestation and the only incarnation of Mashiach ben Yosef is Yeshua HaNatzari. This is furthest from the truth. Yeshua HaNatzari was but one of many incarnations, many reincarnations, more properly stated. The Arizal was what we call a secret reincarnation. The Arizal only came for the elite of Israel. When the Arizal came as a secret reincarnation of Mashiach ben Yosef, he only came for the elect and the elite of Israel. He didn't come for the masses. When Yeshua came for the masses. But the Arizal's reincarnation was only for the elite and elect of Israel. He chose a few chief disciples and initiated them into the deepest, most profound levels of the holy mysteries. This is what the Arizal's mission was to reveal the bulk of the esoteric wisdom at the highest level. These are the most advanced, most secret teachings of Israel. That's what the Arizal came to do. That was his mission. There's no way the masses were going to accept the Arizal because most of the masses in his generation were not fluent in the Zohar, were not fluent in the esoteric literature. It was only the elect and the elite of Israel that were initiated. So he only came for them. This is why the vast majority of people would have rejected the Arizal in his generation, including the leading Rabbanan. Not all of the leading Rabbanan in his generation were on board with the Zohar and the Kabbalah. Now, these are just the facts. Now, when you read the testimonies of his disciples of the powerful things that the Arizal did, it's more proof that he was Mashiach ben Yosef. If you read the Lurianic text, you'll read many testimonies that the Arizal had the power to heal. He could tell you about your previous lives. I mean, the supernatural testimonies of the Arizal are just ridiculously off the charts, so to speak. Okay, and this is when I compare him to his other reincarnation of Yeshua HaNatzari, right? Yeshua we have an inferior. We need to understand that we have an inferior and a superior aspect of both of these Mashiachim, right? The superior aspect of Yeshua is that he came to redeem all of the Goyim, but the inferior aspect of Yeshua is that he did not reveal the secret teachings. He only revealed them to his chief disciples. So all of the subsequent followers and disciples of Yeshua HaNatzari were devoid of the secret teachings, meaning they were devoid of the power and the light. This is the inferiority of Christianity, which does not contain and does not have the secret teachings and the power and the light. That's the inferiority of Yeshua HaNatzari. The inferiority of the Arizal is that he did not come for all of Israel, let alone all of the Goyim. The superiority of the Arizal is that he revealed the bulk of the most esoteric teachings, the power, the light. And he could only do that by coming to the elect and to the elite of Israel, which he did. So this is what makes the incarnation of the Arizal so powerful and so superior. And he's a secret Mashiach ben Yosef because the rest of the world does not know who the Arizal is, does not know of the Arizal, and most definitely does not know of his secret teachings. This is for the elite, the most elite of Israel. You need to understand this. So, this is why it was very important for the Arizal to remain hidden. He had the power to heal people. If you read, again, going back to the testimonies of his chief disciples, of the supernatural power that he was imbued with and that he had, it's extremely astonishing, right? To have a Zadik at the level and caliber of the Arizal to come to you in real life and tell you about your past lives, to tell you what you ate for breakfast last night, to know your secret sins, to walk and be able to tell you that, and be able to speak with a tree, or be able to speak with animals. This is the power of the Arizal. He was a full-blown manifestation of Mashiach ben Yosef. He was on the level of Yeshua HaNatziri. No different. The powers of Yeshua HaNatziri were no different than the powers of the Arizal. The only difference is that the Arizal's mission was to stay secret. He was to remain hidden. Okay? He was not to be revealed on the level of Yeshua HaNatziri because he held the secret teachings. He was to reveal the secret teachings. This was an esoteric mission of Mashiach ben Yosef. This was one of his rogue secret missions, one of his secret rogue incarnations, as opposed to Yeshua HaNatziri, which is known to the whole world, to all of the Goyim. Okay? But they're one and the same. Now, this is what I'm revealing to you here is a secret of the highest order. If you know how many Jews know what I'm telling you? Practically none, I would say. Less than a handful. Okay? So, very, very powerful stuff. Now, going back to the strong point that I want to make. When I say that the esoteric translation of the verse in Daniel is, and happy is the one who arrives to the 335th year of the millennial. If I give that esoteric rendition to your average Jew or your Christian, they're going to think, oh, you're just reading too much into the text. It sounds like you're perverting the text. I actually spoke to a really stupid Jew who was an advanced Jew, and he said, it seems like you're stretching the text. You're reading too much into it. You stupid, retarded Jew. The text is encrypted. Do you understand that? No, they're not familiar. They have no knowledge of the esoteric levels of exegesis and the esoteric constructs, let alone how to decode the word. I can't help but to say you have to be really stupid. You really have to be really stupid. This is why it was not given to you. This is why you are blind and deaf to the power of Elohim. Now, the chief disciples of the Arizal reveal a great secret. They all expressly tell us that he died on the 332nd year of the 5th millennial. But the verse in Daniel says, blessed is the one that reaches the 335th year. The great secret is that the generation of the Arizal was a worthless generation, is what they state. They tell us that generation was a worthless generation full of sin that was not ready for the full light of Mashiach to be revealed. They teach the Arizal wanted to reveal the full manifestation and glory of Yod He Vav He, but the generation failed. It was a failed generation, and because of this, the Arizal was taken away early, 3 years before his time. And they teach that had he been able to live 3 more years, that Israel could have been redeemed. The full redemption of Israel could have come. But we see this time and time again that our Mashiachim are killed and taken away from us early before their time. No different with Yeshua HaNatziri because of the stupidity, the retardation, and the evilness of every Israeli generation. I can't even fully express how lamentable this all is. But let us conclude the teaching now. The grandmasters of grandmasters are fully aware that the Hebrew calendar, as the Jewish world knows, is incorrect. They tell us in the Lurianic texts that there's a known discrepancy of 172 years between the destruction of the temple and the Jewish calendar. This discrepancy is revealed when you reverse engineer the prophetic dates given in Sefer Daniel. Because we know that on the Jewish calendar, on the erroneous Jewish calendar, that the year 5332 represented the death of the Arizal. But the prophecy in question, in reference to the 1335 years, refers to after the destruction of the temple. That is 1,335 days after the destruction of the temple, which does not come out to the year 5332 on the Jewish calendar. So when you reverse engineer these timelines and dates, you arrive at a discrepancy of 172 years. Okay? And this is duly noted in the Larianic text. The Grandmasters are not stupid. They know that the Jewish calendar is off and that it's wrong. And when you reach the highest levels of initiation, you'll fully understand why this occurred and how this occurred. But this is beyond the canon scope of this video. Now, duly note that the current year, our current year on the Hebrew calendar is the year 5779. Okay? Understanding that there's a discrepancy of 172 years, that tells us that the real current year is really 5951. Okay? Now, Chazal teach that Mashiach ben Dawid will not come until the year 6000. Knowing the truth that we're closer to the year 5951, then that means that we're about 49 years away from the coming of Mashiach ben Dawid, which would make the year 6000 around the year 2068. Now, Isaac Newton calculated from his secret Kabbalistic calculations the year to be around 2060. He's very close. Okay, so it begs the question, what did Isaac Newton know? Okay. Now, those that have purchased my book, that is an esoteric Kabbalistic commentary on the book of Revelation, I have a section in there where I deal with the stupidity of Christianity and the Christians who like to teach that no one knows the day or the hour of his coming. Now, what these stupid Christians have done is they have completely perverted and corrupted the verse. They don't even know what the verse is really saying. Okay, it's really lamentable. They're really, really stupid because of this. Sifra Daniel encodes the date of the arrival of not only the first Mashiach ben Yosef, but of the return of Mashiach ben Dawid as well. Those dates are there in Sifra Daniel, encrypted and encoded. And Isaac Newton was able to figure out the approximate date of his return. I just gave you another calculation for the approximate date of his return here. Okay? And if you know astrology and you're as initiated as I am, you can most definitely figure out the year that he's going to come back. I'm not going to reveal that year because it's too secret, but you can know it. And you have to be really stupid if you believe and you teach that no one knows the day or the hour, that no one can know the time or the year that he's going to come back. Sure, maybe no one can know the hour, okay, but you can know the day, you can know the year. They've completely corrupted and perverted that verse. Okay, no different than the stupid Jews that teach in their text, that taught even in the generation of Yeshua and said, oh no one knows the day of Mashiach's coming. The book of Daniel doesn't give us a date of Mashiach. That's what the Jews say. The Jews teach that the book of Daniel does not give the date of Mashiach ben Yosef's arrival, in total opposition to the Christians who teach the opposite. And so the Christians in essence are no different than the stupid Jews when they like to corrupt and pervert the verse that no one knows the day or the hour and teach that there's no way you can know when Mashiach ben Dawid is coming. But the world in this last generation is full of deception and stupidity and ignorance and even retardation. As I'm always saying, the Luciferians have succeeded in dumbing down the population. They absolutely succeeded. The stupidity of the masses is off the charts. Now, I'll end with this very momentous note. This assumes that the year 0 on the Gregorian calendar was the date that Yeshua HaMashiach was born. But we also know that that date is also off. So this adds a second discrepancy to this calculation. The illuminated ones will know and understand as they shine as the firmament of the heavens. Shalom, Weselah.